Dana Holgorsen was in Lincoln back in January. Nothing ever materialized of that. Nebraska ended up hiring Glenn Thomas to coach quarterbacks. Marcus Satterfield remained the play caller and moved to coach tight ends. Well, here we are on November 5th. And, we confirmed that Dana Holgorsen arrived at Lincoln on November 4th. He met with the team this week, has been a part of practices as well as former Baylor, Carolina Panther, and Temple DC Phil Snow. Matt Rhule has brought in some fresh set of eyes and voices, big voices in the case of Holgorsen, to join his staff. And the question is it what can they do now? Well, I mean, what is your view of this, Sipple? As we've been on the phone all day with different people around the coaching industry, this is an awfully unique thing going on right now.
Yeah, best I can tell, it's really unique. I've never heard of this, where you actually bring in someone in season with 3 games to go. It's not unheard of to bring in guys to look at your program, but to bring them in during the season
to meet your team,
it's a remarkable development. That's what it is. And I want to back up a little bit. I think it's always important to kind of back up. Think about the storm. For Matt Rhule has come very quickly. It basically, when you have this extreme result at Indiana, followed by a difficult loss at Ohio State, and then another extreme result, when you're at a place like Nebraska, the storm just kicks up so fast. And then this is pretty remarkable. Think about all you have to do if you want to size this up is put yourself in the shoes of the current staff members. Here come these guys in the office to assess what you're doing
with more credentials than the other coaches have. If you're being blunt and honest,
and again, not unheard of at all during an off season, but there's 3 games to go.
Mm-hmm.
So, Dana Holgorsen, guys, his record as an offensive coach is strong. I mean, he's had 6 seasons where his offenses have averaged 500 yards a game. Now, only one since 2012, but he's had Graham Harrell and Brandon Whedon, Will Greer. He's had some great quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Snow at Temple and Baylor, those defenses became excellent. At Temple, they got excellent really fast. At Baylor, they were the number 1 defense in the Big 12 in the last year. There's 2017, the number 1 defense in the Big 12. So both those guys have really strong records. I think Snow, guys, if Tony White would move on, I think that's your defensive coordinator.
Because he almost got hired when Rhule got here.
Yeah.
Like he was one of the top names on the rumored list.
And it wasn't. It was more than rumor. It was.
He was one of the first names.
Because he was going to retire, right? But he basically said no because he was going to step away from football
for a little bit. Yeah, that's exactly right. I think if Snow wanted I was told today actually that if he wanted that job, he could have had it.
Mm-hmm.
So now here he is. He's in town helping.
Well, and the elephant in the room now is Marcus Satterfield.
Yes.
And what does that mean for him? Because you bring in a guy with more experience, more accolades.
Oh, way more.
You basically hire an outside consultant to come in and tell you what you're doing wrong, and this is what you should be doing.
Yeah, the joke all week is that it's like Office Space where
the
Bobs come in and sit everybody down and said, "So, Marcus, what is it exactly that you do here?"
And Sipple hasn't seen Office Space.
Okay,
I can already
seen it.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
It's a timeless classic, and it perfectly relates to what's happening right now. But the interesting thing about this is not only they come in with these massive credentials, but they have extreme trust from Matt Rhule. Like these are guys that he knows, and he wouldn't be doing this if he didn't have absolute faith in these guys and value their opinion 100%. And so that what makes it even more interesting. It's just the timing of this whole deal. Like if this happened in the off season, it would be interesting. But the fact that we're 9 games into the season now,
it's remarkable,
and it's happening, it's fascinating.
Yeah. Well, think about this USC game going into it. The wrinkles that might come out, and you're going, maybe that was a new. But then on the other side, USC is under their own adversity. They're switching quarterbacks to Jaden Maeva.
Yep.
So a game that doesn't have a lot of juice is all of a sudden got a few more.
It's got juice.
It's the desperation bowl right now.
Yeah, there's some desperation, And it is a similar situation because of USC's very potent brand. I mean, that's a fan base with high expectations, and they're sub 500. So Lincoln Riley's under pressure. He's making 90. His buyout's $90 million. He's about as high profile as it gets, and they're scuffling. Rhule, high profile, scuffling. But this again is remarkable. I mean, I don't know. There's probably somebody's going to say, no, this has happened somewhere simple. I don't know. I've never heard of it. It's never happened in Nebraska. Never heard of it. Yeah. I'm just saying I never heard of it. I talked to 2 former longtime coaches who have never heard of it.
Like one example I'll give that a little different, but like Luke Fickell, when he was named the Wisconsin head coach, he took over and coached the bowl game. Like that was an extreme of a new coach coming in and just took over it. And this would be like something like that all of a sudden, like if Holgorsen is legitimately coaching in the middle, I mean, that would remind me a little bit of that Wisconsin situation where all of a sudden Luke Fickell just started coaching the team and they won the bowl game.
Right. Now, here's what we got to ask ourselves. What would Rhule say? What is he going to say? What are the parameters that Holgorsen's operating under? I mean, that's what I want to know, because we don't know that. We don't know what parameters. Is he just up there and is he helping a little bit, or could he have a headset?
He doesn't strike me as a guy that's going to be Matt Lubick just sitting back and being quiet. Like,
is there any? Now, I'm going to ask a question that we should know. Are there any rules that would prohibit him from wearing a headset?
It's 19 headsets or whatever, 18 or 19. You can give those to who you want. There's tablets and headset rules, and he can be given a headset and a tablet. I mean, there's other questions. How quickly can he familiarize himself with the personnel? Or has he been? I think he has.
Well, and the fact that he's already been here. I mean, he's seen the team.
Yeah.
Like he's already got a pretty good look, and I'm sure he's kept tabs on him.
So now, is it pretty obvious what this means for Marcus Satterfield?
I mean, if you're if you're just being real about what's going on here, historically bad offensive performance with an elite 5-star quarterback.
Yeah.
You think about the high point, 28-0 against Colorado at halftime to where it's at now, 18 points a game in Big Ten play.
Yeah. Rhule hired a guy in Satterfield that's never had a top 40 offense. That's 40's as high as it's been for Satterfield.
And that was at South Carolina when they went on that heater late, right?
2022 when he had Spencer Rattler.
They're averaging like 50 points a game over the last 3. Just skew the numbers a little bit.
Right. It only finished 40th nationally, so it wasn't a juggernaut, but that's as good as he's ever been. And it caught up. Now, I don't know. It's possible Rhule saw something in Satterfield that we didn't see. Maybe he saw a guy evolving in his late 40s as someone who had hit his stride in his 50s. I'm really reaching at this point because he's never really had good offenses.
Well,
it's not like we got to be very transparent. It's not like we called it out very much. I didn't.
I also think Rhule, when he first built his staff, it was challenging to get all the guys here he initially wanted.
Yeah, and we did establish that
he had to
Satterfield wasn't his number one choice.
He had to move around. I mean, maybe Satterfield was always going to be on the staff, but there were other ideas that he wanted to bring in on his staff
as an OC and a player
and coaches.
Yeah,
and I think on just coming from the NFL so abruptly like he did, there were some challenges to kind of build that first staff.
Boy, this is amazing. I mean, what we're talking about is a startling development.
The monster. One thing I told somebody, the monster has ate a lot of good men at Nebraska. I mean, a lot of people that you never thought would fall to the monster. Scott Frost. I mean, it is tough. I mean, it's a tough place. The pressures here are real, and you can't deny it.
You guys saw it, right, yesterday with Rhule. I mean, I saw a man under pressure at Monday's press conference, in Matt Rhule's weekly press conference. I don't mind that. I've seen coaches at Nebraska that seemed okay with things were going bad. Rhule, I respect the fact that it's not okay, and he's trying to do something about it and get this team to a bowl game. That part of it, that makes sense to me.
It was a little concerning just in the sense that it was the first time he showed admittance that the current direction of what they're doing wasn't working.
Right.
But at the same time, it showed optimism that he was willing to make massive changes with this week's developments
point.
being the case in
Good
point.
point. He said, hey, Sean, this is important. I just thought of this. At the close of that press conference, or near the close, he said twice, there's nothing I won't do to get this team to a bowl game. He knew what was going on.
He understands how bad everybody needs this for the program to have an advancement.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go 8 years with no advancement.
Right. 6 straight losses.
And I know he's only been a part of 2 of them, but the state's been a part of all 8 of them.
Right.